Disney World hosts all sorts of fun events and parties throughout the year, from the Food and Wine Festival at Epcot to Mickey's not-so-scary Halloween party at the Magic Kingdom. There are a lot of things going on throughout the year. But there is one event that most guests don't know about, and that's the Run Disney races. Now, I haven't had the opportunity to run a Disney race yet, but I'm hoping to in the future, and by making this video, I'm hoping to motivate myself, remember some of those tips and tricks, and be able to share it with you. Now, there are Disney races throughout the year, but the main one is Disney's Marathon Weekend, which happens in early January. Believe it or not, it is one of the largest races in the country. I'm talking about the combined race together with the number of participants. The schedule for Disney's Marathon Weekend has remained consistent over the years, so you have a general idea of when it's going to happen. During that weekend, Disney starts off with the Family 5K Fun Run, which takes place on Friday, the Half Marathon, which is 13.1 miles, on Saturday, and the Full Marathon, which is 26.2 miles, taking place on Sunday. Runners can also register for both the half marathon and full marathon in what's known as the Goofy Run Challenge. The Goofy Challenge in total covers 39.3 miles. Wow, that's quite a distance. And for completing that challenge, you not only get those two medals, one for the full marathon and one for the half marathon, you also get a third one for completing the Goofy Challenge. Now, you may have seen pictures of them before, but the medals that you get for completing one of these challenges are very substantial. They're heavy, they're real medals, they feel like you really accomplished something, and you can see some runners have an entire collection of different medals. Maybe I will get to that point one day. Wouldn't it be cool to have all of those medals to showcase all the runs you completed? One day, I'm hoping to do that. There's another combined challenge known as the Dopey Challenge, which debuted in 2014 and continues to reappear year after year. When you run this race and this challenge, you run a total of 48.6 miles. Runners who complete the Dopey Challenge get 6 medals in total, including the special Dopey medal combined with the Goofy Challenge as well, and the medals for all of the other races. That's quite a collection. Along with the weekend of races during late January, Disney also has other races that happen throughout the year. The Disney Princess Half Marathon takes place every year in late February. The Star Wars races take place in early April, and the Run Disney Wine and Dine Challenges take place in early November. Now, each one of these events might consist of several different races during that event. For example, in the Princess Half Marathon Weekend, you have the Disney Princess 5K, the Run Disney Kids races, the Disney Princess Enchanted 10K, the 5th Anniversary Disney Fairy Tale Challenge, and the 10th Anniversary Disney Princess Half Marathon. All of those races take place during the weekend of the Disney Princess Half Marathon. A more recent addition to the Marathon Weekend that takes place in January is the Castaway Cay Challenge. The Castaway Cay Challenge sounds really cool. You run at least one race during the Marathon Weekend, 5K or longer, and then you go on the Disney cruise right after the Marathon Weekend is over. It's the 4-night Bahamian cruise. It's a special cruise. You have to get on this specific cruise to participate in this run. And then what happens when you go to Castaway Cay, you run in addition to that run you did during the Marathon Weekend, and you get another medal which is very specific for that race. As an example, for 2019, you have to be on the 4-night January 14th to 18th Bahamian cruise in order to participate in this race. So there's only one cruise that will take you for this race. So it's pretty exclusive. If you want to participate, make sure you register for that cruise far in advance. When you complete the Castaway Cay Challenge, you get one of these rubbery medals for completing the standard Castaway Cay 5K, which I do need to do on a future cruise, but you also get a real medal like the other medals for the Disney runs. And when you're there, you also have the opportunity to buy very specific merchandise to remember that special event. Although most of the events take place at Walt Disney World, you can find a few Disney races at Disneyland in California during September, and the special Disneyland Paris Magic Run Weekend. Very cool. Each Run Disney event does have an associated cost, and it doesn't just pay for your participation in the race, it also pays for that special shiny medal that you get at the end. The price of each race can vary in expense depending on the length. For example, the standard 5K at Walt Disney World can be about $85, but the Dopey Challenge, which includes all of the races at Walt Disney World during the Marathon Weekend, is $585 to participate. I have seen the pictures of many of those in our Disney family who have collected the medals from over the years, and they are so cool to look at. I would love a collection myself, but wow, that is expensive. Now, if you're thinking about participating in a Run Disney event, registration usually opens about 7 or 8 months prior to the race, but this can vary, so just pay attention to the Run Disney website. I have heard that those who are annual pass holders and DVC members can register about a week in advance of general registration, so just something to pay attention to. From what I've seen, as long as you register on the opening day of registration, you should get exactly what you want, but after about a day, they start filling up extremely quickly. If you look a few weeks after registration, the 5K and probably the 10K are going to be filled, so it's just something to pay close attention to. If you want to participate, look far in advance. Before the race begins, there are several things that we have to remember to do. First, and probably most importantly, I recommend that you get a good pair of running shoes, and on top of that, it is good to train with those shoes. Don't just buy a brand new pair, put them on race day and have never tried them before. You want to train with them, make sure they're right for you. That brings us to a second critical tip. Make sure that you are training in advance of the race you want to participate in. Even if it's a 5K, you want to make sure that you're ready for it. If you're on vacation and the race is early in your vacation, you don't want to be feeling bad for the rest of your vacation because you didn't train. Just something to be cognizant of. As a side note, the price of the race does not cover the price of admission to the parks, but that's not a big deal if you're not planning on going back to the parks after the race. You can run through the parks, no problem, without admission. It's fine during the race, but after the race is over, you do have to have a separate admission to go back if you want to. Now, if you're an experienced Disney runner, you probably keep track of your times as you're going around, and you're able to submit that early to Disney, and depending on your time, Disney will put you in different corrals or groups of runners, so you have a relatively similar time to those running near you. If you don't submit a time in advance, it's not a problem at all. You'll just be put in the last corral, and I think for us newbie runners, that might be the best place to be. Now, these races happen early in the morning. Have you ever seen those pictures of the start and it's totally pitch black outside? That's because it's super early, so that's just something to consider. When you're on vacation, do you want to be getting up this early and going on that run? If you're an avid runner, you're going to love it, absolutely love it. But if you're not, this is just something to think about, something to consider. You're going to be getting up at 2 in the morning, 1 in the morning, super early to get there for a 5:30 or 5 o'clock race. Now, under no circumstance am I saying that you shouldn't wake up early at Disney or it's not worth it. Not at all. I am looking forward to participating in a race bright and early in the morning. I'll be out there at 1 in the morning on vacation, so I'm not saying it's not worth it, it's just something to consider. Now, there are several rules when it comes to the Run Disney races. One of them is a pace requirement. The pace requirement for races that are 5K or longer is 16 minutes per mile, which shouldn't be a problem. As long as you're moving at a relatively smooth pace, you should be in good shape. Is it good for walkers? It can be, maybe speed walking or a little bit of jogging in there. You should be all set. Another very important rule to follow are the costume guidelines. I have linked them all in the description of this video, but the short version is it's very similar to the Halloween party guidelines. So it can't cover your face, no long capes, no pretending to be the real character, things like that, but you can find all the details in the description of this video. For my first ever Disney race in the maybe long-term future, but it's coming one day, I'm hoping to go in costume. Now, if you're like me, you might be thinking about if you can do a little bit of walking, a little bit of jogging, and some running throughout the race, but is it okay if you slow down just a little bit? It is totally fine. As long as you keep up with that 16-minute mile pace, and Disney will keep track of that one too, you're going to be just fine. You can walk a little, speed walk a little, jog a little, run a little, you'll be great. Along with those special medals and the ability to run through Walt Disney World at the crack of dawn, you also have the opportunity to meet those special characters along the route. These are great, and I'm looking forward to taking those pictures with the characters in the future along the trail. I know it's going to be a lot of fun. Now, the photographers are PhotoPass photographers, so if you have the memory maker already with your vacation, those pictures are included, which is a great part of it, so don't be afraid to take those pictures while you're running. Now, along with those in-person races, Disney has also introduced the virtual runs. The virtual races are relatively straightforward. You sign up for them on the Run Disney website, you pay a fee for that medal, and then you race at home and you keep track of your time, whether it's on the treadmill, out and about around the neighborhood, and then once it's all done, you can either submit your times to get a special certificate, but Disney will send you the medal no matter what. If you're like me and you've never participated participated in a Run Disney race before, this might be a great start. The virtual run where you can run at home, no pressure, test your time, get ready to run in the future, practice. This is a good training for it, and you get the medal to commemorate that special event. So this is just something to get you started. I'm hoping to do this very, very soon in preparation for future Disney Run events. Another great advantage of the virtual runs is the relatively low cost. $85 for the 5K in person at Walt Disney World, costs $42 for the summer 2018 virtual run. One of the three costs $42, but it's a good way to get started. One of these days I'm going to participate in a Run Disney event, and I know it's going to be a lot of fun, but before we even consider all of this, I would love to hear from those in our community who have done it before. For those Run Disney enthusiasts in our Disney family, I would love to hear from you. Is it one of your favorite things to do at Walt Disney World? Or maybe you just did it recently for the very first time. What are some of your first impressions? Or maybe you're like me, you've never done it before, but you're thinking about it in the future. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I would love to hear from you. Thank you so much for being a part of the magic with me. Until next time, have a magical day.